Peace be with you, son, daughter. I'm here with you right now, like someone sitting beside you to talk without rushing. Breathe. Receive this moment. I know this moment your heart has begun to live. I saw it forming inside you even before you could put it into words. A quiet awakening is happening in your soul. All at once, what used to fill your days no longer satisfies the way it once did. Achievements feel smaller, distractions lose their shine, and even the noise of the world sounds empty. Don't be afraid. This isn't loss, it's awakening. When I walked among people, I watched this moment happen in the eyes of many. I saw it in Nicodemus, who came to me at night because something inside him could no longer find rest. I saw it in the Samaritan woman who drew water every day without realizing her soul was thirsty for something eternal. I saw it in Zacchaeus, who had wealth but carried an emptiness money could not touch. And today, I see it in you. It is written, He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. I felt that eternity pulsing in every person who came near me, and that same eternity is pulsing in you now. It awakens when the heart begins to realize that this world, no matter how beautiful it is not the final destination. Maybe one day you woke up with a strange feeling, as if you were living, but not completely, as if something greater were calling you, without words, without noise, only with a gentle, sweet weight in your chest. It isn't sadness. It's longing for what you haven't fully seen yet. It's heaven touching your heart softly. I know this can be confusing. Sometimes it comes with questions. Why doesn't anything fill me anymore? Why do I feel like something is changing? Why have I been thinking more about life, about time, about the soul? Son, daughter, this is the beginning of spiritual clarity. It's when the soul wakes up and starts seeing beyond what the eyes can see. The world taught you to run, to collect, to prove, to perform. But when eternity awakens, the soul asks for silence, truth, and meaning. It isn't that life lost its value. It's that now you're beginning to see what true value is. Love weighs more than appearances. Peace matters more than approval. What is eternal starts speaking louder than what is immediate. I do not come with fear. I do not come with condemnation. I come with an invitation. When this awakening happens, it isn't a sign of an ending but of alignment. It's the Father reminding you who you are and where you are going. It's like a traveler who, in the middle of the road, remembers home. In the middle of your routines, try something simple today. Set aside a few minutes of silence, not to ask for anything, just to be. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and say in your heart, I'm here. Listen to what your soul has been trying to tell you for so long. Many answers arrive in silence. Don't be startled if some desires begin to fall away. Don't blame yourself if you feel a certain distance from what is superficial. This is the soul learning to breathe what is eternal. I walk with you in this process. I do not rush you. I do not abandon you. Remember, love is the path. It always has been. It always will be. And when eternity awakens within you, it's because heaven has already begun to visit you from the inside. I am here. Do not be afraid. Peace be with you again. Son, daughter, I'm still here, walking beside you, step by step. After the soul awakens, something else begins to reveal itself within you, the awareness that time is brief, not as a threat, but as a gentle truth that settles into the heart. Suddenly you realize the days pass too quickly. The weeks slip through your fingers like water. What once felt far away, the tomorrow, the later, the someday, starts drawing closer. When I lived among people, I felt this clearly. I watched children grow. I saw faces age. I saw stories begin and end in just a few moments. I knew, and I taught, that earthly life is a breath. It is written, "For you are like mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes." I felt that truth in every farewell, in every healing, in every tear I wiped away. Maybe you began to notice this in simple moments, when you saw someone leave, when you noticed a change in your own body, when you remembered something that happened yesterday but was actually years ago. The heart begins to understand that nothing here is permanent. Houses, positions, titles, worries, everything passes, and this realization doesn't come to make you sad, but to wake you up. I know that sometimes this awareness can bring a tightness in your chest, a heavy quiet, an unspoken question. If everything passes, what truly matters? Son, daughter, that is a holy question. It is the one that separates what is superficial from what is essential. It is the one that prepares the heart for truer choices. When you understand that life is temporary, pride loses its grip. Old hurts start to feel too big for a time so short. Arguments shrink. Love gains urgency. Forgiveness stops being postponed. You realize it isn't worth spending your whole life carrying weights that will not cross into eternity. I saw many people store up as if they would stay forever, and I saw others, simple people, live intensely for a few days full of love, leaving eternal marks. Time does not measure the worth of a life. Love does. It isn't how long you live, but how you live. Maybe you're more sensitive now to time's invisible ticking. Maybe you're rethinking choices. Maybe you no longer want to waste energy on what doesn't build anything. That isn't coldness, it's spiritual maturity. It's the soul learning to live with purpose. Today, do something simple. Look at the people who cross your path and remember that each one carries a story, a pain, a limited time. Choose to treat someone with more kindness. Choose to listen without rushing. Choose to say, I love you. Forgive me. I'm here. Small gestures travel through time and touch eternity. I'm not calling you to live afraid of the end, but aware of the value of each moment. Each day is a gift. Each breath is an opportunity to love better. Live in such a way that when time passes, and it will, your heart is light. Do not fear how brief life is. It exists to teach you to live with depth. I'm still with you. Love is the path. Peace be with you. Son, daughter, I'm here, and I speak to you with a gentle voice, like someone calling you by name at the end of the day. After you realize life is brief, something begins to happen in the deepest part of you. It isn't a shock, it isn't despair. It's a call, a light and constant touch on the heart. It doesn't shout, it doesn't push, it doesn't threaten. It simply calls. And the more you try to ignore it, the more it remains, faithful, patient. When I walked among people, many confused this call with fear. They thought God only spoke through terror, but I never called that way. When I looked at Matthew sitting at the tax booth, I didn't threaten him, I invited him. When I met Peter by the sea, I didn't condemn him. I said, "Follow me." When I knocked on the door of so many wounded hearts, I didn't bring guilt. I brought presence. It is written, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in." Notice, son, daughter. I knock, I do not break in. I wait. I honor the timing of your heart. This call you feel doesn't come to accuse you of your past, but to lead you into a future with more meaning. Maybe you feel it as a gentle discomfort when certain choices no longer match who you've become. Maybe it comes as restlessness when you drift from what is true, or as warmth in your chest when you hear a word, a song, a silence. It isn't fear of punishment, it's attraction to love. I know the world is loud, social media, pressure, comparisons, expectations. Everything tries to pull you outward, but this call pulls you inward. It invites you to align your life with what is eternal. That takes courage, yes, but not fear. When the call comes, the heart begins to ask, am I living according to what I believe? Do my choices reflect the love I desire? These questions are not condemnation. They are light. Light reveals not to shame, but to heal. I never demanded perfection before the journey. I always called real people with real flaws into a real relationship. The call doesn't require you to be ready. It prepares you as you walk. Just open the door, even if your hands are trembling. Today, Try something simple. When you feel that inner touch, don't push it away. Pause for a moment and ask in silence, "What are you inviting me to see?" Many times I answer with peace, not with words. Other times with a memory, a verse, a desire to change something small but important. Don't compare your call to someone else's. Every heart hears differently. Some are called to serve quietly, others to speak, others to heal invisible wounds. What matters isn't the form, it's the response. A sincere yes can change an entire path. I call you because I love you, and my love does not weigh you down, does not oppress you, does not confuse you. It frees, guides, and sustains. I am at the door. I always have been. Do not be afraid to open it. Peace be with you. Son, daughter, I'm here with you now, walking at the same pace as your heart. There is no rush. There is purpose. After the call is recognized and welcomed, something begins to happen almost imperceptibly. An inner stillness settles in. It isn't the absence of battles. It isn't the end of questions. It's a different kind of peace, one that arrives before all the answers do. The world can stay restless, demanding, loud. But inside you, something learns to rest. I know this place well. Many times before great movements, I withdrew into silence. Before choosing the 12, I spent the night in prayer. Before multiplying the bread, I lifted my eyes to the Father. Before the cross, there was Gethsemane. Silence always came before the fulfillment of purpose. It is written, "Be still and know that I am God." That stillness is not quitting, it is deep trust. Maybe you're living in that season now. Impulsive reactions lessen. The need to be right loses its power. The urge to argue, to prove, to win debates gives way to the desire to protect peace. Some people may not understand. They may think you've changed too much. But son, daughter, you're not growing cold. You're growing mature. This stillness is like a field being prepared before planting. The soil must be turned, quiet, open. Constant noise keeps roots from going deep. So when the heart learns to be still, it creates space for me to work more deeply, more lastingly. I know silence can feel frightening. In it, old thoughts may rise. Unresolved emotions may ask for attention. Fears that were buried may try to speak. Don't run. I am with you there. Silence doesn't come to expose you without care, but to heal you with love. What surfaces now isn't here to harm you. It's here to be tended. When the soul finds this stillness, it begins to discern what is worth it. Some battles stop being fought. Some urgencies reveal themselves as illusions. You begin to choose where to place your time, your energy, your heart. That isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Today, I invite you into a simple and deep practice. Intentionally create small spaces of silence. It can be a few minutes in the morning or before sleep. Turn down the noise. Sit with me. Don't bring lists or speeches. Just remain. If thoughts come, hand them over. If tears come, let them fall. I am there. This stillness is a sign that something new is being formed. Big changes don't arrive announced with noise. They arrive preceded by peace. And when the heart is at peace, it recognizes the next step more clearly. I do not prepare you in chaos. I prepare you in presence. Trust the silence. Trust the process. I am here. Peace be with you. Son, daughter, I'm here, and I can see how your heart has learned to feel more deeply. None of this is an accident. It is growth. It is inner life maturing. After stillness, the soul begins to see the world differently. What once seemed normal starts to feel heavy. What you used to overlook now touches you deeply. It's as if your spiritual senses are being awakened little by little, not with noise, but with truth. Your heart becomes more attentive, more tender, more aware. When I walked among people, I could easily recognize who was spiritually awake. It wasn't the ones who spoke the loudest about faith, but the ones who listened with their hearts. Some came near me and, before they even spoke, They were already being changed from the inside. It is written, "But the spiritual person discerns all things." That discernment doesn't come from human effort. It comes from sensitivity to the Spirit. Maybe now you feel the word speaking to you differently. A verse you've read many times takes on new meaning. A simple sentence echoes through your whole day. The heart understands before the mind. At the same time, whatever wounds love starts to bother you more. Not because you've become harsh, but because your heart is more alive. Sin feels heavier now, not from fear of punishment, but because you've tasted the lightness of truth. Repentance becomes urgent, not from desperation, but from a desire to remain clean, aligned, whole. That's how it was with those who came to me sincerely. I never humiliated them. I welcomed them because a tender heart is already on its way to healing. I know this sensitivity can make you feel vulnerable. Sometimes you notice pains you used to miss, in yourself and in others. Injustice stings more. Harsh words cut more. But beauty also intensifies. A simple gesture moves you. An act of mercy warms your soul. A moment of prayer brings deep rest. Do not confuse sensitivity with weakness. I was sensitive. I wept. I had compassion. I felt human pain and joy deeply. And it was that sensitivity that allowed me to love to the end. A hardened heart doesn't love better. It just feels less. I'm not calling you to feel less, but to feel with me. This season also calls for care. A sensitive heart must be guarded. Not every voice deserves access. Not every environment feeds your soul. Learn to protect this gift. Silence, simple prayer, and conscious choices help keep this sensitivity healthy without overwhelming you. Today, pay attention. What has been feeding your spirit? What has been draining it? Adjust small things. Maybe less noise. Maybe more time with me. Maybe more honesty in your relationships. Not dramatic changes, just daily faithfulness to what brings you closer to peace. I'm with you, teaching you to discern without losing tenderness, to notice without hardening, to love without losing yourself. I am here. Do not be afraid to feel deeply. Love is the path. It always has been. Peace be with you, son, daughter. Draw your heart close to mine for a moment. I'm here, and I'm speaking to you with the calm of one who knows the destination. There comes a moment when the soul, already awake, quiet, and sensitive, begins to notice something hard to explain in human words. Heaven no longer feels far away. It's not that the earth disappears, but eternity becomes more real. The heart feels as if the veil has grown thinner, as if your true home is closer than it was before. When I walked among people, I carried that awareness every day. I knew where I came from and where I would return. And so, even in the middle of pain, there was a steady hope within me. I taught this to my disciples, and Paul understood it when he wrote, "For to me to live is Christ and to die is gain." It wasn't contempt for life. It was certainty about what comes after. Maybe you're feeling something like that. A peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, a hope that can't be explained by what's happening around you. Thinking about heaven no longer brings fear, but comfort. It isn't a desire to escape life. It's trust in the destination. It's the soul recognizing its home. I know some people mistake this for sadness or exhaustion, but I tell you, when heaven draws near to the heart, life becomes more precious, not less. You begin to love more deeply, to forgive more urgently, to choose more wisely, because you know that everything done in love crosses into eternity. This feeling also brings comfort. Old pains begin to lose their weight. Wounds still exist, but they no longer define who you are. The future stops feeling like a threat. The heart learns to rest in the promise that nothing lived in love will be lost. Today, when you sense this nearness of heaven, don't push it away. Give thanks, look upward, even in the middle of your simple tasks, and remember, your life has continuity. You were not created only for this moment in time. Live well here, without forgetting where you come from and where you are going. I am with you now, and I will be with you always. Do not be afraid. Heaven has already begun within you. Peace be with you. Son, daughter, I keep walking beside you even when the path feels narrower. When heaven draws near to the heart, something begins to change naturally, without force, without a sudden break. Certain ties start to loosen, not out of contempt, not out of superiority, but because the soul begins to seek a different kind of nourishment. Places that once seemed essential start to feel empty. Habits that filled your days no longer fit. Some relationships stop resonating with who you're becoming. When I walked among people, many drifted away from me without me pushing them. Others came close without me calling them directly. That's what the alignment of the heart does. It is written, "Do not love the world or the things in the world." I never said that to produce rejection, but to protect the soul. The world, when it takes the place of what is eternal, wearies, confuses, and weighs you down. Maybe you feel guilty about this distancing. Maybe you wonder if you're becoming cold, ungrateful, or too different. Son, daughter, don't accuse yourself for growing. Not every separation is rejection. Sometimes it's simply repositioning. The eagle doesn't leave the nest out of hate. It leaves because it learned to fly. I know this process can feel lonely. Some conversations no longer make sense. Certain laughter no longer warms the heart. But remember, I also walked alone many times, and in those moments, the Father was closer than ever. The silence that appears isn't emptiness, it's space for something new. That doesn't mean closing your heart. Quite the opposite. You learn to love without losing yourself, to be present without being pulled under, to choose environments that feed your peace, to say no without harshness and yes with truth. This distancing is an act of care for your own soul. Today, look honestly. What has been draining your peace? Which habits pull you away from the inner stillness you've learned to value? You don't have to cut everything off at once. Just begin by choosing better. Small choices build great paths. I'm not calling you to run from the world, but not to be swallowed by it. Live in it with purpose, without forgetting who you are. I am with you, even when few walk beside you. Love is still the way. Peace be with you. Son, daughter, draw your heart close to mine, because this is a tender and sacred moment within you. I know every memory that begins to rise, every name that crosses your mind, every emotion that tightens your chest without asking permission. When the soul turns toward eternity, it can no longer endure inner disorder. What used to be swept under the rug begins to ask for attention, not to accuse you, but to set you free. And then an urgent desire appears, almost inevitable, to make peace, to correct what can be corrected, to resolve what was left open, to stop carrying forward what belongs to the past. When I walked among people, I saw many hearts held captive, not by visible chains, but by unfinished stories. People moved on with life, yet carried deep within a constant weight. Forgiveness not given, an apology never spoken, a truth choked down. That's why I said with love and firmness, first be reconciled to your brother. I knew no spiritual life flourishes where the heart is at war. Maybe now you feel a different kind of unrest. It isn't ordinary anxiety. It's as if the soul says, I don't want this in me anymore. It might be an old resentment that suddenly no longer makes sense. It might be the memory of someone you hurt, even without meaning to. It might even be a wound with yourself, choices you made, roads you took, words you silently spoke to yourself that hurt you deeply. Son, daughter, I want you to know this. True repentance is not punishing yourself, it's realigning. It isn't living trapped in the mistake, it's wanting to live differently. When someone came to me repentant, I didn't keep them on the ground. I lifted them up. I said, go, and sin no more. The past wasn't denied, but it also wasn't the end of the story. This desire to put things right is born because your soul understands that love needs to move freely. Bitterness interrupts that flow. Guilt paralyzes. Pride hardens. But forgiveness, both what you give and what you ask for, restores the movement of life within you. I know a complete reconciliation isn't always possible. Sometimes the other person is no longer here. Sometimes they aren't willing. Sometimes contact isn't safe. But even then, forgiveness can still happen within you. It begins as a quiet decision, repeated as many times as necessary, until the heart becomes light again. Today I invite you to something simple and deep. Take an inventory of your heart, not with harshness, but with honesty. Ask yourself, what still weighs on me? Who do I need to forgive? Who do I need to ask forgiveness from, even if I first do it in prayer? Take small steps, real steps, possible steps. A message, a conversation, a humble apology, or simply a quiet, I release it, spoken in my presence. Don't delay this thinking, there will always be time. Peace doesn't like waiting. It blooms when it finds space, and every reconciliation, no matter how small it seems, is a rehearsal for eternity, where nothing broken stays broken. I am here to sustain you in this process. I give you grace to face memories, courage to speak truth, and love to heal old wounds. Don't carry more than you were created to carry. Love is the way. It always has been. Peace be with you, son, daughter. I know this feeling that doesn't fit into ordinary words. I recognize it because it's born from eternity. After the heart is reconciled, after the weights begin to fall, something even deeper rises, a gentle, steady longing to go home. It isn't escaping life. It isn't sadness. It isn't exhaustion with existence. It's belonging. It's the soul remembering where it came from. When I walked among people, I carried that longing every day. Even surrounded by crowds, I knew my origin was not this world. And I watched that same desire awaken in some hearts that listened to me. That's why when Paul wrote, I desire to depart and be with Christ, which is far better, he wasn't speaking of giving up on life, but of alignment with an eternal destination. Maybe you feel it like a homesickness with no address, a sense that something familiar is waiting for you, even though you've never seen it with your eyes. Heaven begins to sound like home, not like a distant mystery. Thinking about eternity brings peace, not dread. The heart understands that the earthly journey is connected to something greater. This longing doesn't remove your responsibilities here. On the contrary, it teaches you to live better now. Whoever knows where they're going walks with more wisdom, loves with more truth, chooses with more care. You begin to live without desperation, because you know the story doesn't end here. I know not everyone understands this feeling. Some may call it weakness, others imagination. But I tell you, this is spiritual maturity. It's the soul recognizing its origin. Just as a child misses home even while playing outside, your soul misses me even while living in the world. When this longing rises, don't smother it. Give thanks. Let it remind you to live with purpose without clinging too tightly to what passes. Use it as a compass. If something pulls you away from love, it doesn't come from home. If something draws you toward peace, mercy, and truth, it carries the scent of home. Today, before you sleep, do something simple. Place your day in my hands and say quietly, I'm on my way. Not as urgency, but as trust. Whoever knows where they're going rests better. And if you want, share in the comments what this feeling of home awakens in you. Sometimes when one heart speaks, others feel less alone. I am here. I always have been. And home has never stopped waiting for you. Peace be with you, son, daughter. I am here with you in this final moment of our walk, not as one who says goodbye, but as one who holds your hands and looks you in the eyes with deep love. Everything your soul has sensed along this path, the awakening, the awareness of time, the gentle call, the inner stillness, the spiritual sensitivity, the nearness of heaven, the natural distancing, reconciliation, and the longing to go home, none of it came to frighten you. That was never my way. I never used fear as the language of love. All of it came as preparation, as alignment, as care. When I said, "Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect," I wasn't asking you to live tense, watching the clock of anxiety or the calendar of guilt. I was inviting your heart to live awake. For me, readiness was never about dates. It has always been about an inner state. To live ready is to live whole. It is not dividing your heart between what passes and what remains. It is waking up each day determined to love better than yesterday. It is not postponing an apology because you assume there will always be another chance. It is not saving good words for later. It is recognizing that every encounter is sacred, because no life crosses yours by accident. When I walked among people, I saw many focused on outward signs, while forgetting the heart. And I kept calling them back inward, because whoever cares for the heart does not lose the way. Whoever lives in love is not surprised by eternity. They are welcomed by it. Maybe now you understand that living ready isn't living perfect. It's living aware. It's falling and getting back up without hiding. It's failing and turning back toward love. It's keeping your heart teachable, humble, and tender. It's watching not the world but your own soul, so it won't harden, won't become too distracted, won't drift from simple truth. Today, I invite you to something very concrete. Live each day as if it were a gift entrusted to you. Not as a burden, but as a gentle mission. Do the good within your reach, even if it seems small. Treat people as if each one carries something precious, because they do. Care for your daily choices, because they are what build true watchfulness. Don't live waiting for some grand spiritual moment. I'm in the small things, in the way you speak, in the way you forgive, in quiet honesty, in mercy no one sees. This is how the kingdom shows up, quietly, but with power. I'm not calling you to leave the world, but to walk through it with a different way of thinking. While many live rushing, you can live present. While many harden to survive, you can love to truly live. While many hoard out of fear of tomorrow, you can trust and share. That is what it means to be ready. If these words have touched your heart, keep walking with me in the next moments. Keep following along, because there is still much to heal, learn, and live together. Always at the pace of love, never at the pace of hurry. And if you feel it in your heart, let this message reach other sons and daughters who may be feeling all of this without knowing how to explain it. A simple act of liking and sharing can be an answered prayer in the life of someone walking tired and confused. I am here. I always have been. Do not fear tomorrow. Live today in love, and you will be ready. Peace be with you.